Hey everybody, Jake here from Bearded Gear, and I wanted to do an interesting video today. I'm filming this on Christmas Eve. This will go live on Christmas morning, and I don't know if you have all experienced this, but something that comes with being a knife guy or girl, somebody who's in this hobby and always has at least one knife in my pocket, I get asked a lot of times to borrow my knife, right? If somebody around me needs to open something, they know I've got a knife on me, it's not uncommon at all for me to be asked if I have a knife that someone can borrow. So, with tomorrow being Christmas, when this goes live, with today being Christmas, I figured it would be fun to talk about what I've decided to carry for Christmas Day. And this is kind of just a tongue-in-cheek, lighthearted video, if you will. This shouldn't be taken too seriously. It's not like I've brooded over this decision for days. But I was thinking to myself this morning, what knife should I put in my pocket tomorrow, or what knives should I have in my pockets tomorrow? Because inevitably, as my daughter is opening her presents, as her cousins are opening their presents, as little kids have all these new toys and all that kind of stuff, and as there's a finicky bow on something, either I myself will be cutting a lot of packaging, or I'll be handing a knife to loved ones so that they can open packaging. And so there's this interesting philosophical thing, right, where I know quite a few people like the idea of carrying one really nice knife that's kind of for them, and then one knife that they're not as worried about handing to somebody else to use. And we've probably, many of us have had the experience where someone has asked to borrow a knife. We've handed them a knife that is precious to us, and they've used it in a way that makes us wince, right? Maybe they've put it through something that has staples in it, or maybe they, I don't know, cut against a ceramic plate with it, or maybe just the way they're holding it seems dangerous, or, there's certainly a reality to that fear. So, I get that. I understand why some people would want to carry like a $20 cheap budget knife in case someone asks to borrow one. They can hand that to them. And I see the merit there. But I know everybody who I'm going to see tomorrow. I know that I can trust them to an extent, or I wouldn't feel uncomfortable saying, wait, don't cut it that way, or let me cut it for you. So if someone's just opening a toys package, I'm not too worried about the knives that I've chosen. Either one to be able to hand to somebody so they can use it. Plus, when I'm at my side of the family, my dad and my brothers will each have knives in their pockets as well, so it's less likely that I would need to hand one to somebody anyways. So, without further ado, I'm going to be carrying two knives tomorrow, and I chose each of them based on a couple of things. The type of task at hand being the primary one. So opening a lot of packaging, right? Cutting through things like paper and tape and cardboard and ribbons and zip ties. A lot of the stuff that, frankly, I do a lot with EDC knives. So this is probably kind of a good indicator of some of my favorite knives for those type of tasks, right? But I also wanted to pick things that weren't too complicated or unapproachable in case I do need to hand them to somebody, that they'd be able to figure out how to open and close it, that kind of thing. So what I landed on were two things. One, my primary being the Spyderco Gale Bradley 2. If you've watched my review of this knife, you'll know I really, really like the Gale Bradley 2. I think this knife, in terms of its merits as a cutting utensil, it's excellent. So we have a blade steel of M4 with a nice hollow grind that brings it down to a nice thin behind the edge geometry. We've got this swedge up here coming to a nice tip, which I have found is excellent for cutting things like zip ties. Like if zip ties are around something and they're in kind of a small loop, sometimes it's a little difficult if you've got too robust of a tip to get in there, but you don't want to have no tip either. Like if it's too wispy, then you're worried about snapping it. So this I've just found is really good for stuff like getting into a zip tie and then just twisting to kind of get that blade up into there and pop it off. So this knife, if I have to process a bunch of cardboard and open a bunch of packages and all that kind of stuff, this is a knife I reach for a lot. I like it for that type of work. It's capable of a lot more than that, sure, but it's a liner lock, feels good in hand, carries well. There's a lot good happening with this knife, and I think as a primary for Christmas Day, this is an excellent opening presents knife. So that's knife number one. Now the other one is a knife that is brand new to me. I actually need to film my first impressions on this. I'm probably not going to get to do that because I'm just scheduling wise, but I'll probably film that once I'm up in Portland. Anyways, this is the new Finch Holiday. And I picked it for similar reasons, but also because it's called the Holiday. It just seemed like a fitting knife to have in my pocket on one of my favorite and one of the best holidays of the year. This, of course, is spelt Holliday after Doc Holliday, but it's called the Holiday nonetheless. Now, this knife has, again, an excellent blade profile for all of the type of stuff that I mentioned. I've been doing a little bit of cutting with this. I carried it all day yesterday, used it a few times, and I've been really impressed with this blade. I love how precise that tip is, and with it being this kind of Wharncliffe profile, how usable it is. Love that it's just a nice, perfect, straight edge. The handle's super neutral. It's going to fit in anybody's hand, and being a bolster lock, super intuitive and easy to use. The flipper, it's hard to mess up. It's a really, really snappy, good flipper, and I just dig this knife so far. So, without giving away too much of where I'm at with it, I will be doing a first impressions video of this knife. I think it'll be a welcome companion. Now, what's funny is usually a secondary knife for me is smaller than this is. This is definitely about as big as I'll get with a secondary knife, and I'm going to carry the GB2 as a primary, so this will probably be in my back left pocket, and yeah, I'll just use this for whatever I need to use it for, and it'll probably be the one of the two that more realistically I'd hand to somebody else if they need to use a knife real quick. So I think those will be the two knives that are on my person ready to go. I will probably also, in my fanny pack, have my Vero pry bar, because that lives in there right now. I might have the Spyderco Dragonfly, because I've kind of just been leaving that in there for a little bit. And yeah, I don't know, it's possible some other stuff will get tossed in there as well. And I'm not saying that I'll necessarily carry these for the entire day, but with the scheduling of our day, all of the present opening will happen in the morning, and these will be the knives on me for Christmas morning. So I don't know how interesting this actually is to watch, but I figured it was a fun little holiday video to throw together and just talk about what I'll be carrying. So, if you're watching this, in the comments, let me know what your Christmas morning carry is, because I'm curious whether you're one of those people who has a knife for you and a knife for others, or whether you're carrying just a nice knife, or what's making it into your pocket, knife-wise, for Christmas. Assuming you celebrate Christmas. If not, no harm, no foul. I do, so that's what's happening in my life tomorrow. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it as always. I hope everybody has an awesome Christmas, an awesome holiday season. I'm really looking forward to the trip that I'm leaving on morning after Christmas, and it's a good time of year. Quick reminder, I do also have the giveaway up right now for, where did I put it? I don't know where I set it. For the Spyderco Lil Native in Rex 45. So if you haven't entered that yet, go a few videos back and enter for that. Should be a lot of fun. So thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate it, and I'll see you on the next one. Merry Christmas.